Hey everyone, welcome to the Friday live stream.
Hello, boys.
Hey Ian,
Hello,
Ian's in the
everybody.
background.
Hello, I'm in the background.
So we are streaming to all social media platforms, including TikTok. I am in the studio. We actually started the TikTok live stream a little bit before the official stream, just to get everything working. We're trying something new. We did it once a couple weeks ago, where we bring people on to debate a skeptic, or at least to ask us a question live. If you are able to stream yourself from TikTok, then we can get your video in the stream as well. But otherwise, you can just chat us the question. Can we get them on audio without video if they don't have the ability to stream?
Yeah, I think you can shut off your video if you just do audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have the go live button on your TikTok, you can feel free to join. Or you could tag somebody who you know is itching to, debate a skeptic. Any of your homeopathic aunts.
Right. All right. A lot of questions about the music, or our theme music.
Oh yeah.
While it was playing there. No, it's not the theme to Seinfeld. No. So the backstory, the really quick backstory to that is that early on, in the podcast, we went to a website called PodSafe Music, which basically a lot of artists just put stuff on there and basically said just use it, just free to use, just mention us, give us a mention, but you could free use this music. So we just pulled something that we liked off of there. And then like years later, right, Jay? It was like 8, 9, 10 years later. I think did we reach out to them, or did they reach out to us?
They reached out to us.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, I just noticed that you're using our song as the intro to your podcast." So the group actually recorded a new version, instrumental only, specifically for us to use for the intro for our show, which was super nice.
They gave it like a digital vibe.
Yeah.
More of a digital thing. It was cool. The guy was really nice. He was really surprised, because when he checked in on us, he's like, "Holy Christ, look at what happened to that podcast."
So your task, listeners, is to go back through all the episodes and see when it switches over. What episode number
does it switch over? And also, what song did we briefly use before we went to podcast?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. Oh, somebody knows. Keith knows. Can you see what Keith says on the... It's a little small for you, Steve, but...
It's a little small for me in the studio.
It says, weird
sign. Good job, Keith.
Yep, weird
Very
science.
good.
Some
That's the early
SGU
days.
trivia there.
That's good.
That's
The
when we
band
were
is
small
Canetto,
enough
by the
that
way.
we were just basically Canetto was the band. We were planning on just flying under the radar, and then it got to the point where we couldn't do that anymore. We had to actually do things above board.
More above board.
More above board.
Somebody said that they thought Geo did the theme.
No. Now the theme goes back to before we met Gio.
That's correct.
We didn't meet George until TAM 7 or 8 or something. Right. We met at one of the TAMs, but we were a few years in. We were already using that that music as our theme song.
It was a quick switch over because I think it's 2006 you must have switched over, or maybe even in 2005.
Same year?
I was just going through all the early episodes. I should have paid attention, but well, should we?
And who does the voiceover at the beginning? That's another
Oh,
trivia. More
that's a
SGU
good one.
trivia. Anyone want to guess?
Anyone in the chat? 10 points if you can remember. Theme song changed at the same time.
And that's her actual accent. That's not somebody faking an accent. That's somebody's.
Yes.
That is their genuine accent.
What do you
The
guys think about the Jew face thing with
Not the original one, then.
what's his face? I can't remember the actor's name now.
That did with, oh God, what was, yes.
The guy that wrote and starred in A Star is
Bradley
Born. Bradley
something?
Cooper.
There you go.
You guys hear about this?
No.
Yes.
It's really
Yes.
it's really a weird situation. So he wears a prosthetic nose in this movie he did about I can't remember who the guy was, but basically the actor the person he's portraying was of Jewish heritage, and the guy had a very different
Bernstein,
nose
right?
than Bradley Cooper.
Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah. So they put a prosthetic nose on him to make him look more like the actor. And of course, people are up in arms. They're freaking out. Like they call it Jew face and all this stuff. It's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And the family of that person said that they're perfectly fine with it. They think it's good because it makes him look more like their father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just ridiculousness. It's just spin a wheel and whatever it lands on, be upset about that today. That's the world we live in.
There's a lot of genuine stuff to be upset out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Like,
Yeah.
here's
That's
a
why
big
you
thing to
should
be upset about. The homeopathic lobby, there is a
segue.
homeopathic lobby, is trying to pass a bill that would essentially allow them to operate without any Food and Drug Administration oversight, which
That's
would
the
be
dream. That's the dream.
That's the dream. It would be an amazingly bad thing to happen. We sent out an email today to anybody that's on the SGU mailing list.
Yeah,
giving
originated
them-
from CFI. So CFI is getting the word out, and then we're extending it. The email that they sent out, the Center for Inquiry.
Paste
Yeah,
the link in case anybody wants to quickly.
Oh, yeah,
If you're
let
in the
me-
U.S., you could.
The thing is, they're almost there now, right? They are ostensibly under FDA oversight, but the FDA just basically says do whatever you want, and they just theoretically have the ability to regulate homeopathy, but they basically decided it wasn't worth their resources to actually do it. So they say, whatever you guys think is real, that's fine. That's fine with us.
That's complete
so
bullshit, though.
They don't even want that. They want to just be completely on their own. Yeah, it's just BS.
There's the link in the chat, by the way, if anybody wants to click on it.
Yeah, thanks for putting.
It's pretty
that there.
quick to.
It takes
do.
20 seconds. If you're in the U.S., just do it. It'll when you put your zip code in, it'll locate whoever your representative is, and the email will go to them.
But that's often how these laws are passed. Like these pro pseudoscience laws is like in the dead of night, under the radar, when no one's looking, no fanfare, no discussion, no debate. Just try to slip it in there. Of course, that's how most laws are passed, but it's really hard. You got to pay attention. In the U.S., it's hard because you have to pay attention not only at the federal level, which is what this is, but in 50 states, because especially with healthcare, a lot of the regulations at the state level, and it's almost an impossible task. We do have, we do keep track of that as best as we can, but we do on SBM, as well. But it's man, it's tough.
All right, I have a ridiculous question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
There
We'll
was
try
a
to have a ridiculous answer.
there was a $1 billion lottery in the United States recently.
Mhm.
So my wife and I, we're just for fun. We're having a talk, and she asked me. She's like, if we won that money, what would we do? So we're talking, and then
That's
she's
not
like,
ridiculous.
well,
I
I mean, you don't want to
all the
spend too
time.
much. You don't want to waste too much time fantasizing about something that's never going to happen. But
Well, you don't want to do too much of anything, but
she asked me, what would happen to the SGU? Because I just got through telling her, well, if I won $1 billion, I would give Bob and Steve $100 million each. You know what I mean? Like I would just give you guys huge amounts of money, so none of us would ever have to work again. Blah blah blah. So she was like, well, what do you think would happen to the SGU? And I'm like, well, and then so we had this conversation, and I'm like going through all like, would we still do it? What would happen? I said, what would definitely happen though, is that we would start a critical thinking lobby organization to lobby the government on skeptical issues, on education, and a huge list of things. With that kind of money, you can get a lot of really good lobbying done. So that's why I brought it up, because I'm like, yeah, if I had $1 billion, I would, damn right, I'd start a company that would lobby the government.
I mean, it would, obviously that would transform what we do. Not only could we all work full time doing this, but also we could hire a ton of people. Like we would definitely hire somebody to do all of the audio and video post production, for example. Like there's no way, I would do any technical, production when I could pay somebody to do it. It would give us the ability to produce a tremendous amount of more content. Somebody in the chat wrote SGU TV show. That's absolutely on the list of things we do. We've even talked about that just even with our current finances, just doing a pilot.
Yeah.
The problem with getting on TV is that it's like you basically have to win the lottery 3 times to get a show actually on TV. You know what I mean? You got to somehow get a pilot. The pilot's got to be picked up. And it's very, very, you have very little creative control if it's if it's someone else who's producing it, or you could finance it and produce it yourself. You have 100% creative control, but now you're just playing the lottery again. You're just then you're just shopping it around, hoping that somebody likes it. But it's very hard to get good, solid skeptical content on TV, even given the proliferation of cable, networks, etc.
Yeah, we'd be able to start a fully functioning production company and basically pay for everything without having to worry about it making a profit. But personally, would I continue to do a weekly podcast? I don't know. I honestly don't know. With that kind of money, I could spend my time doing it. I would look at it like, how many man hours a week would I be willing to invest to be an activist as a billionaire, and what would be the best spend of that time? And I think, working with a company that's lobbying the government would be way, way more influential than making our podcast. You know what I mean? Like that's the holy grail, I think, of what we could do as a community, is to lobby the government.
But what about, we talked about this many years ago, creating an online textbook series that's ever evolving, available to any school. Talk about how having an impact. Assuming a lot of schools would take it up. Imagine the impact you could have. Getting into schools with reasonable, rational, reality-based textbooks. That could be huge. It might take a while for the impact to really be felt.
Yeah, creating it would not be the hard part. The hard part would be getting schools to use it, getting it into the curriculum.
Yeah.
That would be the part where again, you're lobbying basically all the states to use your books.
Right.
And somebody said Florida wouldn't pick it up. You're damn right they wouldn't pick it up. Lots of states wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But anyway, it's a fun thing to think about. If we imagine if the skeptical movement had $1 billion backer, that was spending the money doing it. Yes, I want to be fully involved. Let's make some positive effort here to change the world. And I think you could really make some legitimate hay with that kind of money. I mean, $1 billion roughly, very roughly, would make you $800 million a year if you're conservatively investing it, right?
No.
No.
80%? What are you
million.
talking about?
No, I'm sorry.
5% 's
80
conservative.
80 million. It would make you no. If you invest it, if you get 8% interest off of $1 billion, what does that earn?
Yeah, that's 80 million.
80 million. So there's $80 million a year that you could spend without even touching the principal on activism.
Right.
I don't know, man. That 80 million would be small potatoes if I got 750 million in the bank. But
Well, I mean, you would have to create an institution, like an organization, to manage that money, basically, and that would have a life of its own, right? That would go beyond us. But listen, we would obviously the first thing we'd have to do is spend a lot of time thinking about what we would do, because just riffing off the top of our heads, I know we've probably all thought about this to some extent, like how we would transform what we do if we had the resources. But I think I would still want to put out a podcast, but we would probably put out a bunch of podcasts with other people, and again, and hire people to do a lot of the busy work. It would just be a completely different production.
well,
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
honestly though, my first priority would be to build a new house. Or
Bob,
I would want to get a compound for the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
A compound, like a shared property.
like a
And
skeptical compound.
I would, a skeptical sci-fi horror compound. That would be my first focus, a home base. And then there'd be a couple other places throughout, around the world. But I'd have a home base that I would design the crap out of that house. It'd be
Yeah. Oh my God. That'd
part
be,
starship, part haunted house.
The Skepta lair. Yeah. Then we have the studio there.
it would be amazing though, being able to help. Like you would be able to help so many people
Yeah.
with that kind of money. It was also making me think. I wonder what billionaires are really doing that's good with their money. Like, are they helping lots of? Like, I know Bill Gates is just doing a
Yeah, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they at one point, like, their goal was, we're going to vaccinate the world. Like, that was their goal.
Yeah.
You have that kind of money, you can have that kind of goal.
Yeah.
But I know that he started a water treatment plant or several water treatment plants to provide water to people who didn't have access to clean water. And you remember that there was a worm that people would ingest from the water from a well in Africa, and that worm would grow in their body, and then it would, it's like this horrible thing that thousands and thousands and thousands of people had to deal with, and he basically eradicated that worm, and it's no longer a problem. That type of thing. Those types of things would be what I would want to do. So yeah, that would be great. That'd be an amazing thing.
Somebody said they found us while they were looking for pagan podcasts. So there's a market.
Pagan?
That's cool. Yeah, pagan. It says, "You changed my life." Well, thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
That's very cool.
All right, what else should we talk about now that we're done fantasizing about the lottery, which has the equal chance of getting all three of us getting struck by lightning right now where we're sitting?
Talking about lightning, did you hear that lightning last night?
Yeah, that was pretty wicked.
We had an unbelievably intense lightning storm that passed over Connecticut, and it shook the ground. It was like an earthquake when the lightning bolts hit. Like I felt it in my bedroom. It was unreal.
Yeah, it was. What's funny is, my dog.
Oh yeah, my dog freaked.
Yeah, so he stood toe to toe with a black bear, and yet he shakes himself silly when there's lightning out. Like, he is completely terrified of lightning.
Because he can't comprehend it. That's the problem.
Well, whatever. It's
no-
hard.
there's no
I don't know what's going on
no
through his
face
head, but
to
he.
You're right, Dan. You don't hear lightning. You're right.
Yeah. Well, he sees the lightning and he hears the thunder,
Yeah.
and they both freak him out.
Yep. It's spooky, man. I was doing that thing where like you'd see the light flash and then you count how long it takes to hear, and because the storm woke me up, like, and I heard it coming. So I basically was counting, and it got closer, and then I was counting, and it went away. It took like an hour and a half.
You're awake for 90
I was
minutes.
awake for the whole thing. I couldn't sleep in that. You kidding me?
Jesus. Well, so today my work cut out my access to ChatGPT at work
Oh,
Why?
Why?
interesting.
because it's it is risky. There have been some some companies have been using ChatGPT, and then once you upload anything you ask ChatGPT, it can go into the training information, the training data, or whatever. And companies have had proprietary information released
Mhm.
because they entered it in ChatGPT. Now that's stupid. First of all, you'd never put proprietary information like that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now it's like, holy crap! I was having so much fun using ChatGPT to write my PowerShell script.
But you can
And
do it on your phone.
I know. I absolutely. I could do it at home. That's not a problem.
Speaking of ChatGPT, one of my friends lost his job today because of ChatGPT.
Wow!
Yep,
Wow!
it happened. And the boss told him, "You lost your job to ChatGPT."
Wow!
What was his job?
I don't want to talk about any of the details because it's it's very private. But bottom line is, it had to do with writing, of course, because
Wow.
it's a text-based program. But yeah, it's really the first person that I knew personally that got the cut specifically
Yeah!
for
Wow!
that software. It's pretty intimidating if you think about it. I could only imagine how bad that feels.
Yeah.
Well,
You spend your whole life, becoming a professional editor and writer, and like you have a skill set that's based on language, and a piece of software, can upend that
Yeah.
so fast.
you know what I found out though? I was having trouble getting a working code because I would try to lay out specifically. I spent serious time coming up with the prompts required to come back with a good program, and it was never quite right. So what I did was I scrapped everything and I went very high level, super high level description of what I wanted, and it worked. It was like so good. It was I told you can't in some cases, in my case, going too granular to get exactly what you want wasn't the way to do it. It just very, very high level description and have the program figure out how to do it. It's just like, all right. It was a very interesting surprise, and it was great. And then, of course, my company, that's it, can't do that anymore, bastards.
But why? Did they give a reason?
Yeah.
Did somebody actually abuse it, or did they
No,
give
I
away
think
proprietary information?
I found an online on our company website. I found a page where they recently uploaded a ChatGPT policy where you can't do it like to write code. You can't do it. You can't really use it because it's risky, because anything you enter, any proprietary company information you enter can go onto the web. It could resurface. So it's a security breach, man. It's a security risk for sure. I understand that, but I'm not going. I could go to them and say, hey, I'm just using it to assist me in writing scripts. I'm not going to enter anything important, anything that I don't want released into the wild. But I figure, they still never will okay it. So,
Can't the company pay for their own instance of ChatGPT though? That's not public.
Say again, Jay?
Theoretically, but they're expensive, right?
I know that you could pay for ChatGPT 4.0. Right? You can pay to use it.
Yeah.
I thought that they had a company version where a company could use it, and basically it doesn't commingle. It's like basically in its own cloud environment, so it's not commingled with the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. We need to, right?
And I was only using 3.5. I was wondering how much better 4.0 would be with PowerShell scripting. But it was fun while it lasted.
Well, you could still, you just said you could still do it from home.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm not going to admit that. I'm not going to admit to that, right?
Well,
Mhm.
you know, it's a tool, and it does what you're asking it to do. It does incredibly well. You know, it would be foolish not to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I read through the script and like trying to figure it out, and it takes me a while to like, what's it doing here? Like, okay, like wow, I would have thought of that method.
Ian, do we have someone to debate?
Not yet. No, we haven't had any invites or requests to join. So we'll just have to keep seeing if people pop in.
Today
It's
is
one of those
Andrea's
things that slowly
birthday.
builds up. It is true.
Really?
Andrea Jones-Roy. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Andrea. We should have had her on.
I can call her right now, and we can all wish her a happy
Okay.
birthday. Let's do it.
Speaking of which, a couple people, well, not directly, but going back to a previous point, a couple people tagged us in this, which is the WHO talking about integrating homeopathy and traditional medicine into, what is it? Traditional medicine has a long history of contributing to conventional medicine, which is an interesting statement from the WHO. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Yeah, that's been their long time position. They're wrong. It's all political bullshit, basically. A lot of it came when the director of the WHO was a Chinese woman who was really pushing traditional Chinese medicine into the WHO.
so it's just keeping the higher ups happy, or is there political sway?
I think
to it?
part of it is just misguided political correctness. It's like, we need to respect, because they're the World Health Organization. It's not like they don't want to be seen as imposing like Western style medicine on everybody else. They want to sort of take everybody where they are and respect everyone's traditions and beliefs. But you have to draw the line with facts and science, right? Because like, yeah, sure, everyone is entitled to their own culture and their own, moral calculus and etc. But not to their own facts, right? You can't say that this medicine works in our country, because we believe it does, and the World Health Organization has not navigated that issue well. They have, in my opinion, pretty much failed when it comes to that.
I agree.
True. Somebody's asking, what was it? I want to hear Steve's points on Eckhart Tolle. A friend of mine drank his Kool-Aid. I don't know.
I haven't done a deep dive on him, so I don't
Yeah.
want to talk off the cuff.
Yeah.
That's what I like about you, Steve. You are willing to say, "I'm not ready to talk about that." You don't just take the liberty. You're like you want to know what you're talking about.
I don't want to talk on my ass.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of people that do some weird things. Paul Anka's cousin does some weird stuff, right?
well, yeah, right.
Daryl Anka does some weird stuff. What's the guy that just stares at you? Have you ever seen that guy?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
that guy.
The guy, that's his whole bit, is that he just looks at
Brazzo
you.
or something?
Let me look him
Brazzo?
up.
Is it Brazzo?
And then people pay to have this guy stand on stage and just
just
look.
stare. It's awesome. That's the gig we need.
What a gimmick.
You could just stare skepticism into your brain.
But straight up, I got to say this: that guy's a goddamn genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you could convince people to pay you to do absolutely nothing, like you're a
Yeah.
genius.
Bracco? Bracco? B-R-A-C-O, is that it? Something like that. It's amazing. He's like Fabio. Yeah.
Like Fabio.
He's got that kind of look. I don't know. Oh, I found him.
All right, let's see his
let me
picture.
see this. Here we go. Bracco. Okay, here we go. Look at this.
Oh my God.
There.
Yep, there
Don't
it
you
is.
just feel the healing?
I do.
Look at this. I'd be healed by that.
Yeah, I just gotta look at his picture and I feel good.
Ooh.
I wonder if he ever started laughing by accident up on stage. You know? You know what I mean?
Oh, if we just cut a fart, while he's standing up on stage.
God.
Wait, why are there pictures of dogs next? It's like, is
Holy
this
shit.
dog also Bracco? Bracco.
I don't know. I really can't tell the difference.
Pretty much the same. I'd stare at that dog. You should just have a picture in the SGU studio of him. in the
We should
background.
totally do that.
Just watching over us.
He's a genius.
Yeah, he's a genius.
He knows he's full of shit. He knows it's all bullshit, right? And he's like, he somehow went from I am making no money and I have this unbelievably ridiculous idea to making money. Come
Yeah.
on, like that is real. That is real. That guy probably could start a marketing company and be a freaking millionaire off of that
Well,
alone.
He probably.
Or he got lucky.
Yeah, he's a good,
You know,
good face.
who knows how much shit he threw against the wall before he hit upon that thing. It's also because the thing is, and I've said this before, is like when you're dealing with the people that we know about because they're famous, right? Pseudoscientists, whatever. Whether it's pick it, whether they're psychics or channelers or magicians, whatever. They're at the top, the tippy top of a very big pyramid of progressively mediocre people, right?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, how'd that guy come up with that? He's a genius. He's sitting on top of 1 million people all throwing shit against the wall. It didn't work, right? He just happened to hit upon something that had the right combination of look and vibe and backstory and whatever and marketing, and it went viral. The equivalent of going viral. It's like saying, if you made a video on YouTube that went viral, you've got to be a freaking genius. No, you got lucky because there's 1 million people out there who have videos that didn't go viral.
I get what you're saying. I wonder how much of it was really good marketing and everything, and how much of it was him just completely getting lucky. Like that would
backing into it. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to be able to talk to charlatans and have them just be honest and tell you, like, so let me tell you how I came up with this, and walk you through their process and see their success story and how they got to swindle people out of money. That would be fascinating.
Right.
Oh, I think we got a little bit of a nibble in the TikTok chat. I don't know, Steve, if you've been reading.
Yeah, the Titanic.
Comments.
You think that guy's serious?
I don't know.
Come on, let's do
well,
this.
I don't think he can't. General mess. If you have anything to say and you want to debate Steve, feel free
The
to.
Titanic was deliberately
request.
sunk.
Yeah,
That iceberg knew what it was doing.
Yeah, as soon as we mentioned the WHO, I think that, or the WHO, not the band, the WHO.
Yeah.
We got him started, and now I think he's saying that the Titanic was deliberately sunk. What was that whole thing? Because the Rockefellers were on it or something like that? Is that the conspiracy?
Yeah, because there were rich people on the ship. Who would have thunk that there would have been rich people on a luxury transatlantic, ocean liner?
What a weird.
What are the odds?
Yeah. But then some of them got off. It was the Rockefellers and then it was somebody else. And they got on and they got off, and that means that they knew that it was being sunk or something. It's like,
it doesn't mean anything.
I know. Well,
so that's a common logical fallacy, where it's basically
Rothschilds. That's what
when you're looking back after you know the result, and it's essentially you're saying that the result is, it's almost like a reverse causation, but it's also that you assume whatever the result was deliberate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
all right, here's Andrea. It's her birthday.
Oh.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Andrea, happy birthday.
They're saying happy birthday to you, and she can only hear me, but we just wanted to let you know that we're thinking about you on your birthday, and we can't wait to do Nauticon with you. We're really looking forward to it.
Oh, well, I'm so looking forward to it too, and I think you all are awesome, and I'm so grateful to get to hang out with you all and everyone watching and listening. So see you all in person very soon.
Yep,
All right,
see
happy
you soon.
birthday. I'll talk to you soon, Andrea.
All right, thanks. Have a good show.
You too. Ciao.
Bye.
Right. It's like after every major event, again, somebody else alluding in the comments, like after 9/11, they said the same thing. Well, basically, it's the cui bono. Who benefited from this? Whoever benefited from it, they caused it, right? Like they you just draw the conclusion. They must have caused it, as if it would have been impossible for anyone to benefit from an event like that without having caused it. Whenever there's any major event, there's going to be winners and losers. Anything disruptive, right? But did half the people get off the Titanic? Right? So did those half of the people cause it? I mean, you can make that argument about anything. It's not compelling because it's not predictive, right? Because it is true of every single event. Yeah, any big event, there's going to be people who who benefit in some way from it and people who hurt some way from it. The fact that that's the case is not predictive of anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that whoever happened to benefit actually caused it, right? Because you could say that like every vice president must have killed, every time a president dies, the vice president must have done it because they benefited by becoming the president.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I mean, the world is chaotic, and there's different in every situation. Of course, like somebody would probably. I mean, a lot of people benefited from COVID.
Yeah,
They didn't cause COVID. They
didn't cause it.
They happen to either be like Zoom probably became an order of magnitude
Zoom
more
caused
rich,
COVID.
right?
Yeah, so either they were opportunists, or they were just lucky. Right place, right time, whatever.
Yep.
Or some combination of those two things.
But it is interesting to look at that from the top down, and you're like, I can totally understand why people who don't, understand critical thinking could draw that conclusion. It makes sense.
To some extent, it's intuitive. Again, like I often say, we all have a little conspiracy theorist living inside of us, right? The idea that we like to connect the dots, and there's something satisfying about doing that. And I also think it's like the instinct can be a little protective. Like we're always thinking about, is it possible that there are forces arrayed against me, or that there's a conspiracy against me? That's, there's something useful about thinking that. But the problem is when people go from a, shooting from the hip kind of hypothesis directly to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking, oh, who could have benefited from this, for example, is there, and maybe thinking that makes them suspects, or that, that we should think about it. They go right to the conclusion they must have caused it. It's obvious that they did it. You're naive if you don't believe that. You're a rube, you're the sheeple. That's the problem, is that disconnect from reality, that there's no logical process between A and B. You go right from an off-the-cuff, hypothesis to like an ironclad conclusion with absolute certainty. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
And you ask, well, what's your evidence? Well, there wouldn't be any evidence. It was a conspiracy, right? Then it could evolve very, very rapidly into a completely self-contained belief system that is immune to refutation, immune to evidence.
There's no evidence. See how good they are?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It must be. It's a really good conspiracy.
The best Satanists ever. Satanists, right?
Satanists?
Oh,
Satanists?
no, there was a documentary. I think it was an HBO documentary about these like teenagers who in Texas, who the local constabulary, they thought that they were engaged in satanic rituals, and they basically went on a literal witch hunt against these kids. And their evidence was so laughably horrible. Like I remember one of their lines of evidence was that they found black candles in their house. Because nobody would ever have black candles unless they were involved in satanic rituals, right? So at one point, like one of the people in the local government was so concerned about what a horrific witch hunt they were engaged in, they got the feds involved, right? They got like federal investigators involved in the case. And like somebody from the FBI, I think it was essentially investigating the investigation, and he was interviewing the local cop, and who was claiming that that they were ritually murdering children in the backyard of this one property, like multiple times. Like there were multiple children were murdered on this property, and they combed over that property with forensics. They could not find a drop of blood, not one bit of evidence that there was any butchering going on there of any kind. And he asked the guy, said, doesn't it bother you that there isn't one bit of physical evidence that anything has been going on that property? And the guy's answer was, listen, these people are master Satanists. The fact that there's no evidence proves that they did it.
Yeah.
Literally what he said.
Awesome.
There was no way of what he wanted the truth to be to not be his truth.
The absence of evidence is proof that I'm right.
Yeah. Speaking of Satanists, who wants to see my new My new Halloween sign.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Check this out. Came today.
It's gonna take a while, Steve.
No, it's
boy.
not.
No, he got it. He got it. Oh boy. He loves the reveal. Bob loves the reveal. Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Happy
really nice.
Halloween.
That is really nice.
Look at that font.
Wow.
What do you call that font? The Halloween font?
Where's that going to be, Bob? At your house?
This is going to be. Oh yeah. Oh, of course. This is going to be in like the above the coffee area, the coffee station.
Is it on wood or what is it made
Yeah.
of?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is like it's like 3/4 inch plywood. I don't know what machine this guy's got, but it's
Is the lettering like sunk into the wood, or is it above?
raised. It's raised.
So they glued it on there.
Or they just cut around it. They just cut around it. If you got like a CNC.
Oh, like a laser? Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
And see, this is like almost the ideal Halloween item because it's it's beautiful, it's high quality, but it's a generic thing that I will put out every year. It's not like
Mhm.
I'm not going to put out this zombie this year because he was out last year. This is something I'll hang every year.
Of
Like
course. Yeah, it's great.
I'll give it to Ashley. When I'm dead. Say, here, you take this. It's such a nice little thing that will probably be around for decades. I
Well,
hope.
Bob, do you need to seal it with something so it can handle the last longer in the weather, or is it already sealed?
I could ask the guy. I got it from Etsy. I'll ask the guy.
Yeah, because plywood does not do well in
Is that made of wood?
in water.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wood.
it's wood.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to spray something on it, like some kind of lacquer or.
Well, I would
Urethane,
think.
yeah. somebody said
I'll ask the
urethane.
guy.
Keith, what should Bob seal that with?
Keith
you got a
knows.
Professional woodworking expert that's watching the show right now.
Let us know.
Um,
That doesn't mean, but go back to the conspiracy. It doesn't mean that some conspiracies don't exist. Is that right?
Oh, conspiracies exist.
Of course
So
they
we
do.
always get this.
Like to
whenever we
overthrow
talk
an
about
election.
conspiracies, just you have to clarify. When most of the time we're talking about conspiracies, talking about grand conspiracies, right? The kind of conspiracies that
Grand.
would involve multiple people, multiple institutions over long periods of time, etc. Like they faked the moon landing.
JFK,
like
moon
that would
landing,
require
flat Earth.
thousands of people. Yeah. So those grand conspiracies are inherently implausible. They're mathematically implausible. They would collapse under their own weight very, very, very quickly. But if you have like two people, agree to do a crime together, that's a conspiracy, right? So the kind of, kitchen table conspiracy or like back room or corporate, like if everyone who's engaged in the conspiracy can fit in one room, sure, that's fine. Those things exist all the time. But the like institution, national level, international level conspiracies, these things are inherently implausible. And especially, also, you always have to think how many people would have to be involved. Why hasn't the press ever uncovered this, right? Like the mainstream media. Why haven't politicians, who would be motivated to do so, uncovered it? Why haven't other countries? Like if we faked the moon landing, we would think that the Russians would have called us out on it at some point, or the Chinese, or whatever. Somebody else with a space program or space probes, or the ability to see whether or not we actually have stuff on the moon, and all of the evidence that should be there had we actually walked on the moon. There would be absolutely no way to keep this from the world. So then they say, well, they're all in on it. Like there's one world hidden government thing. Like the conspiracy just gets deeper and wider every time you poke holes in it. Those kind of grand conspiracies, again, they just sort of collapse in on themselves. That's what we mean when we talk about conspiracy thinking or conspiracy theories, not two people committing a crime together, or one company deciding they're going to bury some evidence or whatever. Those things happen all the time, right?
Exactly.
Or let's say people conspiring together to overturn the 2020 election, for example.
There we go. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. That was an actual conspiracy.
Yeah, that sounds
Right. But of course you can't hide that because you have to do things like call up the Secretary of State of Georgia and ask him to find votes for you, and you get outed. That's what
11,780.
happens with actual conspiracies.
Yep.
Once
Man,
you
I
go
remember-
beyond a few people, they get outed.
I remember exactly where I was when I first heard that recording.
Heard the audio of that call.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. He's done. I was convinced in that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, before I like, well, you
And you
know.
remembered we were living in the upside down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
Like John Oliver prematurely celebrating. That's it.
Yeah.
He's done. Like, no, not yet.
No. But whatever. 4 indictments down. We'll see what happens.
Somebody wants to ask us a name that logical fallacy question.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
me.
the real toughie, if you can. I don't know if you can join us. You can join us and visually / verbally, audibly,
Or just
ask
type it.
us.
Whatever
or
you
just
got.
type it. That's fine. That's fine. Either way is good. Looks good. So we did. So now we're gonna do logical fallacy. I'll keep changing the background, everybody, so they know. I know that's like what you do on TikTok. I haven't done that.
We're supposed to continually change our background. That's the way.
The way that people do it, who do like debates, they're like, "Hey, debate me. Here are the topics," and then they list like 8 topics. And
Yeah.
it's like call in only if you want to talk about like moon landing or this. Like Dr. Blitz, who's a friend of ours on TikTok, he does that a lot, where he has like 8 topics, and then he's like, "Don't call in if you don't want to talk about that." Can you do it, Real Toughie? You should be able to request. Like, there's a little request button at the bottom that should pop up if you have the ability to do live. Otherwise, just type your question in. Yeah, he needs a moment for that. Oh, while we're waiting for that, how did Kara's defense go? We got a couple questions about that.
Fine. Apparently, it went perfectly well. They didn't give her an answer, but she said everyone was pleasant. She got good feedback. She talks about it a little bit on the show that's coming out tomorrow.
So she's basically
you'll know, like, when it's official, and every last thing has been done. You will know.
Yeah, we'll make a shirt, Dr. Kara or something. I don't know.
I'm really
in
proud
that
of her.
phase. It's amazing how predictable the phases of a viral illness, like a cold, is. Like I have an upper respiratory infection.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact sequence of events every time.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in that phase of like the thick mucus in the back of your mouth phase. Hate it.
Yeah.
It always feels
Bad.
like you have something going on back there.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said, listening to your guys' podcast is one of my favorite anxiety coping methods.
Wow.
You've been a fan for over 10 years. Wow.
That's fantastic. The fact that our show is alleviating your anxiety makes me
or maybe
very
it's exposure therapy. He listens to it to feel anxious,
And then
so
it
he can
subsides
learn how
the
to
other.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Little doses of skeptical anxiety.
So today was the best day I have felt since this whole thing happened to me.
Good.
It comes and goes. I have good days and bad days, but today, I'm like, wow, like this is the closest to normal I have felt in about 90 days.
Wow, Jay.
Yep.
That's good. Things are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that, I get more days like this. But what a crazy experience, man. I'm so thankful that I had your help and Jocelyn's help, Steve.
Yeah, no worries, man. No, it sucks when your brain chemistry gets fucked with.
Yeah.
I hate any time like that happens where from the only time I really experience it myself is when I'm in a hypnagogic state, like if I'm sleep deprived or either just waking up or just falling asleep when I'm in that transition state. I don't know if either of you guys ever really had a full-blown like hypnagogic episode?
Oh yeah, I was like locked. I was awake and couldn't move my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hate that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I recently experienced that the classic paralysis. It was fascinating. It was I could see how you'd be freaked out, like Jesus, I'm paralyzed.
But that is nothing compared to suffering from panic or general anxiety or depression, or people are bipolar, schizophrenic, borderline personality, like all of those things. They if you have it bad enough, it consumes your time. It consumes you. Like you don't think about anything else. It's like the thing that you're obsessing about, and you feel awful. And then dealing with medication is awful. Oh God.
You need to
But,
get a zone implant.
yeah, like I had what was that thing that doctor recommended, Steve? That brain stimulation
Prostate
thing?
check?
No,
Yeah,
like that magnetic
Bob.
Yeah, transcranial
transcranial.
magnetic stimulation.
Yeah.
TMS. Yeah, that treatment's legit. It's still experimental though in a lot of ways, but
Is that why you're a
imagine though
teetotaler?
if you the day when you will have an implant, you could just literally just, I think I'll turn my anxiety down to a 3. You're just dialing your different things up and down.
I would do that in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. I would like to be able to be like, I never want to think about this again. and have that stick. That would be amazing.
Well, there was
Could be
that's that
dangerous, too.
movie, the unbearable lightness of a being or whatever, of a shiny mind. What was that movie
Oh. With Jim Carrey,
with Jim Carrey?
an
Where
exceptional
they
mind.
they erase unpleasant memories.
Oh right.
I don't think that would be a good idea though. Right? Don't you think we are? I mean, I guess if you have PTSD,
Eternal
like
sunshine
it really
of the
is,
spotless
you know,
mind.
and it's a spotless mind. But that is an interesting question. Like, if you could have actual memories removed from your brain, would you do it?
Yeah, I would. There's certain memories I'd get rid of.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to lose any piece of me, even if it's something
Yeah, but
negative.
think of it in a different way, right? If there is a memory that you have that only causes you stress or pain when you think about it, then you don't need it, right? Now, and of course, the extreme thing here, Steve, is PTSD. You know, somebody that was raped or something horrible like that. Like, you know, erasing that might actually be an incredible thing for someone in that situation.
Or better, imagine if you can dissociate from that memory. Like, you don't lose the memory, but you disconnect it from any emotional
Sure.
feeling.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't feel it. It's like almost like you're watching a movie kind of memory, but you don't have any personal memories, personal feeling or emotion about it. I still think just a general approach. Like, if you have negative memories, you're better off learning how to deal with them than just getting rid of them. Because then, I mean, there is a bit of a slippery slope there. Like, where are you going to stop? You know.
But still, I mean, you know, the idea is today, you know, it'd be incredible if we could just flip a switch and change it. But, you know, somebody said in the text here, like, you know, mental health is basically like the invisible injury, you know, like it's a thing that a lot of people have and they don't deal with it because it's not like a physical injury to your body where you can go get, you know, you go to the doctor and and it goes away in a short amount of time. You know, mental health issues typically tend to be lifelong issues, and it's intimidating. You know, it's a very hard thing to admit to yourself that you have the problem. It's a hard thing to actually get treatment. The treatment sometimes is difficult emotionally, but we don't have an option to. There is no other way. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna talk to a therapist. You're gonna possibly get on medication, and these people are, you know, we're stuck with it. We are stuck having to deal with that. And now I have found out, like I told you guys, that the system is so bad. I wonder if it's this way everywhere in the world, but in the United States, man, mental health care is suffering.
It's underserved. Yeah, is the big problem. All right, so the name that logical fallacy question is.
Yeah, we need to get that in.
I'll read the stitch together his questions. My question was around those who make an argument based on others' thoughts. For instance, I want to force my kid to be right-handed because others might judge them for being. It seems like they're making a pragmatic argument, but it feels inauthentic. So I think what you're describing is a form of the argument from popularity, or ad populi, right? So that something is correct because it's the popular view or because of what other people think. But of course, that doesn't these informal logical fallacies are very context dependent. So it depends on exactly what argument you're making. You could say that it's not that other people are correct, but if you have to live in society, you have to conform to society to some extent. But that's really that gets down to value judgments. Like, do you value your individuality more, your freedom, or your practical ability to exist in society? And some societal conventions, are not worth fighting, or they may even be good, or even if they're neutral, it kind of helps if people just go along with them. You kind of have to take it almost case by case, Like, is it really objectively better to have a taboo about being naked in public? Whatever you think about that, that's the convention. You could make an argument for going along with the anti-nudity convention just because it would upset a lot of people if you violated it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys have any thoughts on that?
No.
Yeah.
I could think of one memory that Steve would want to wipe out.
What's that?
If you saw Cthulhu,
If you saw Cthulhu? Yeah.
you'd want to get rid of that memory.
I think you'd have a little PTSD if you saw
I
Cthulhu.
wonder if that would even help. I think once you see him, that's it. No technology could help you.
Yeah, I mean, you're permanently, your psyche is permanently damaged in that universe.
Yeah. That's a metaphysical thing almost.
Yeah, it's
not
magical.
Purely.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what are we gonna wear? Are we doing any costumes at Dragon Con?
No, at this point it's too late.
Well, no, it's not.
I have a costume I'm doing with my wife.
Spirit Halloween's open. We should plan on doing maybe next year a Strange New Worlds.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like their uniforms.
Because I think I definitely got the Pike hair going, the
Think so?
elevated hair.
Bob, it's your turn to play one of the lesser characters. You
Oh,
always
really? Is that like when I played Ginger at SciCon?
Oh, here we go.
Or the dress,
There
and
we
the
go.
makeup, and I got my butt pinched and all sorts of stuff.
You loved every second of it. You hung out in the bar afterwards. You loved it. That was the best character.
No, it wasn't. George was the best. He had the professor wig on. He looked amazing.
I wish we had that picture to show everyone.
Yeah.
I got it.
We got to show everybody.
I'll pull it up.
We never actually did the Borg concept, right?
No.
That was just an
No,
idea.
COVID
COVID killed it.
COVID intervened.
Spiritually and
Yeah, we
physically.
could resurrect that, I guess, at some point.
Here's me, Steve, and our significant others last Halloween.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was a good one.
Any other questions? Jay, you don't have a quiz tonight.
No.
No, I was busy.
Here
with
it is. I got it.
You could email it to Ian. He could put it up there legit.
Yeah, it's hard to see because all we
Yeah,
see is the
text it, the
reflection of your light.
reflection.
God damn it. All right, going your way, Ian.
All right, thank you. I had a question. Scroll up, Coco. Hold on. Let's see what Coco said. Oh, the idea that any conspiracy cannot exist if X number of people know about it. Oh, wait. I would like to ask about a common fallacy based on no facts that you keep perpetuating. The idea that any conspiracy cannot exist if X number of people know about it. I don't know.
What do you mean by that? It's hard to know what you mean by that.
Yeah,
You're saying that we say that? That's kind of a straw man. That's not what we're saying. And this has been studied, and there's a good paper that came out a few years ago where they ran the math. If the more people that would have to be in on a conspiracy, the greater the probability that the conspiracy will get exposed, right? That's pretty common sense. And if you run the math for these larger conspiracies, like the moon landing or doctors really know that vaccines cause autism or whatever,
They'd last weeks.
they would
right?
they would last a very short period of time. You know,
Weeks or
it's
months for the big ones.
yeah.
One he's
They just become
saying-
unsustainable because people blab and people are not that good at keeping elaborate secrets secret.
Well, he's saying the syphilis conspiracy, which I'm assuming the Tuskegee experiment, like that. Is that what you're saying, Coco? Because
which we all know about, right?
yeah, which I mean we all know about, but I mean maybe during the time that it was happening, like there's a certain amount of time.
That's another category of conspiracies, or that are kind of the unspoken conspiracies, where it's like people don't have to communicate with each other because they're all kind of just ideologically on the same page, and they just do what they do, and it tends to reinforce each other. Like racism, racism isn't really a grand conspiracy; it's just something that permeates the culture. But the Tuskegee experiments, I haven't taken a close look at that very recently. But from my recollection, that was one institution, and the thing is, it wasn't really a conspiracy. They were doing what they thought was reasonable, ethical, based upon the thinking at the time, which of course it wasn't. It was completely unethical. But that's mainly more of like looking back with our more modern sort of evolved sense of ethics. Yes, we're horrified at what they did, but and not to say that it wasn't, that people at the time wouldn't know that it was wrong, but it was. That it was just, it's not the same thing as, say, like the level of conspiracy and cooperation and organization that would be required to pull off like faking the moon landings. I should look that up. I don't know that anyone's done an analysis like how many people were actually involved in the Tuskegee experiments. How many people are we talking about? I don't know that it was that many necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, from Wikipedia, obviously 600, men were enrolled, quote unquote, in the study.
Yeah, but that's
the
right.
people who were, affected.
That's the people who were enrolled. That's not the people who were carrying out carrying it out. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's done that analysis.
It was in 1928. The Oslo study of untreated syphilis.
Yeah,
is like where it kind of came from. Seems like.
Yeah,
and then the Public Health Service study at Tuskegee Group built on that. But yeah, that'd be an interesting TikTok or YouTube video we could do for weeks to come. Okay, how about this one? Coco, here's another one. The BBC comedian who was a P word, the word we can't say on TikTok because we'll get flagged.
Yeah.
For 30 years. Yeah, I mean, or what's his face? The guy's in jail now. Who was the big movie producer? Weinstein?
Oh, yeah, Weinstein. Yeah. But those are more like open conspiracies. In other words, like everybody kind of knew that Weinstein was a womanizer. It was like one of those worst kept secrets. And again, it was more of the that's not that. It's just again, it's absolutely not the same thing. That's not a grand conspiracy. That was somebody who was protected by power and money. Right, and the people knew what was going on, but they sort of tolerated it or looked the other way because it was kind of in everyone's interest just to do that, or they were intimidated.
Jimmy Savile was the other guy.
Yeah, it's not really a conspiracy. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. Like it was more of like he was just abusing his power and position in order to do what he was doing. Like Jeffrey Epstein's the same thing. Like he was using his power and his money. There was a few people involved with that conspiracy. Like he actually had a few people working for him, but there's really very few number of people who were actually involved in the nuts and bolts of that. And so again, you have to look at each thing unto itself. It's not like the fact that Epstein was able to do what he did for a long time makes it more likely that you could carry out the moon landing hoax. These two things have absolutely nothing to do with each other. They're not the same kind of thing. You know,
Yeah. But thanks for the question. I think that's a good question.
yeah.
Real conspiracy, mass surveillance, and how did the government react? Snowden had to flee to Russia. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Gunstick, thank you for that.
Hey, can we talk about Nauticon?
Oh,
Sure.
So
Speaking of not a conspiracy,
Ian and I went to, I'm like, keep moving because my wife and I had to clean all of our camping gear, and I just took a shower,
oh,
and I was holding like the tent up, and she's spraying, and I said, "Don't spray me," and I came around the corner, and she got me deliberately, like right in the whole thing, I'm like, I'm gonna hurt you. I said, what sucks for you is something's coming, but you just don't know when it's coming. I want her to
Okay.
sweat it a little bit because I got to do
Okay.
something back. But anyway, so Ian and I went to the hotel where Nauticon is going to be because we had to do our tech. You got to go in there and you got to look at the place, and, see exactly where where's the stage going to go and all that stuff. Like we have to.
How long
figure
did it
out.
take you to drive there, Jay?
That was an hour. It's just on
Yeah.
White Plains, so it's
White
not
Plains
a
is
bad
not far.
drive. So it was really good. Everything went pretty well. We had a couple, funny things happen where people asked, like the AV company wanted an insane amount of money. Ian and I were like, yeah. And the hotel is very nice. It has a lot of places to hang out. The bar area and everything
there's a pool,
there's a pool, an
indoor pool.
Yeah. So it's good. Yeah. I mean, I knew that the hotel was good, but now, that we got to see real details. Very, very excited about it. So yeah, if you don't know what Nauticon is, it's a conference that was largely inspired by you guys because, we were getting asked all the time to do something in person, and people were saying that they were missing the socializing. And then we were like, let's just do a socializing event and see how it goes. That's why I was very cautious in the beginning. And when Steve and I were planning this out, we were like, well, let's just ask people to like, let us know if they're interested first, and we had about 150 people say that they were interested. So we pushed it forward, and here we are, we're doing it. It's coming up in November 3rd and 4th. George Robb, Andrea Jones-Roy, Brian Wecht, and the entire cast of the SGU. We're gonna Ninja Brian is making an appearance. Trey Magnifique is making an appearance. I love so much.
All these may or may not be Brian Wecht.
Yes, and we just have a lot of fun stuff planned. So if you're interested, you should definitely join us. It's going to be a good time.
How many seats we got left, Jay?
So we ran out of seats. We sold out, and then I called the hotel and I expanded
Really?
I expanded the amount of seats. So we added another 25 seats.
Wow.
So,
Yes.
yeah, and maybe we could add more, but we got to see how the sales go, I guess.
Well, I got to be careful because every time I add seats, parameters change, and
Yeah.
they already legitimately asked for $1,500 more dollars. It was a legitimate request, but I was trying to angle to not have to. Basically, we need access to the room the day before, so Ian and I can do all the setup. So we had a long back and forth, like.
Yeah.
And they were like, you really should rent the room that day. And I'm like, I don't need it. I'll just come in after your last thing. Well, the last thing that we're doing could go very late. You might not have ale. So they were going back and forth. So I'm 99% sure I'm going to have to spend the money and rent the room the night before.
They want you to rent the room the day before
Yeah.
to set up. Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. They shouldn't do that. They should give me access. So I'm doing all that stuff now. I'm trying to, keep the budget as tight as possible. But everybody wants money.
So yeah, if you haven't signed up, you should sign up, please, so we know if we can add more space and all that.
Oh, and a new
register.
thing, we are having a professional puzzle created. That's gonna.
right.
This is really awesome. So, Brian Wecht is very good friends with a guy that started a puzzle company. So he makes custom puzzles, and they could be anything. You could, any kind of puzzle you can think of. So this puzzle should we say what the premise is?
No.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna
We're
wait.
not even supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to say anything.
No, there's a puzzle. It's
But
okay to say there's a puzzle. 'Cause
Okay.
It'll be something at the con that
There will be
the
something
the
there.
con goers can engage in
Right.
throughout the con.
But you have to be smart, and you have to kind of find it, and then you got to
Yeah.
get on the trail, and then you get on the trail, and then there's lots of clues. It's going to be complicated, but there will be a winner. There
Fun will be
one.
had.
There can only be one.
There
There can be only one.
That's true. Do we have questions from the Discord?
Yeah,
All
get
right.
on that.
Yeah, maybe take a couple Discord questions, and then I think we got to go.
Yeah.
And then we gotta go.
we'll
Yeah.
bounce.
Ian, did you get that email?
Oh, so sorry. Let me check that real quick. Pick from Bob. Oh, very good. Hold on, let me just download that real quick. I'll get a question while I'm getting that. More of an announcement. I'm organizing a fantasy football league for the SGU patrons, and we have a room for a couple more managers, or we have room for more. If anyone's interested, please reach out in Sports Ball channel on Discord. So if you're into the sports ball, there is a channel on our Discord, and you can join. So that's fun, I guess, if you like the sportings. Which is cool. Okay, wait, let me get the images up. Of course, it's in a different place than I'm used to. Bada bing. Somebody scanned that. Thank you for scanning the QR code.
That's
Very
cool that you
good.
could detect that, Ian.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Because it goes, to a link and yada yada. Restream's pretty cool. All right, here is that image. Boom.
Oh my God, that was epic.
That was fun.
That's pretty good.
Look at George and Jay.
George doesn't even look like himself. It's weird.
He totally looks like the professor. You nailed it.
Yeah.
That was a
That's
good
awesome.
time.
That's
Man, I was an ugly woman.
good. No, Bob, you're gorgeous.
I thought you looked good, Bob.
Question for the rogues. You've died and discovered that there really is an afterlife. You get to choose the flavor, sci-fi or fantasy.
I already answered this. I would pick fantasy.
Fantasy. High fantasy? Like,
Well, there's details, right? Are we talking about like it's one universe and it's always going to be that universe, or it's any fantasy you want and you can switch it from time to time?
well, I think...
Well, if you could
with
switch it,
either,
it's no
sucks.
decision, right?
Yeah,
but I
it's
mean, you have to say, you have to choose your
going
afterlife. You get
Yeah.
one choice, and that's it forever.
I'd go with sci-fi.
Ever.
You pick
tough.
sci-fi.
It's hard to say.
You pick sci-fi, and then you can go into a fantasy holodeck. Done.
Well, that is a good point, Bob.
Yeah, it's a solid point. Plus, the fantasy, like there's a lot of permutations there. There's a lot of things
want to
there's a lot of
kill you.
questions that don't get answered typically. Like, what's the level of toilet technology in this fantasy world?
That's a
And
good one.
is that even relevant in in the afterlife?
Yeah. No pooping in the afterlife.
That's
Gotta
a fun
hold it.
question, though. Yeah, I mean,
Not-
the details are very important.
Yeah, it's all in the details.
Along those lines, what is a sci-fi show or movie that you would bring to a desert island, provided you could play it, but you would watch that forever, or however long you're on the desert island?
It could be a series.
A series. Could be a series.
That'd be better
Oh,
than a movie.
okay.
The longer, the better.
That's true.
I don't know.
mean,
Like, what would you not get
to say.
bored of? I mean, I guess you could probably get bored of everything, but
Get bored of
Yeah,
everything.
you get bored of everything.
Star,
I mean, I watch Lord of the Rings
Stargate,
pretty much over and over again,
Expanse,
like every
Babylon 5.
year or so.
Yeah, me too.
But same is true of Star Wars.
mhm.
Yeah, but I didn't like a lot of the Star Wars movies, though.
Yeah, but a lot of the Star Wars, the 4, 5, and 6 was a good trilogy. The other, then it pretty much fell apart from there. What Star Trek series? If you could have only one Star Trek series, what would it be?
Well, we get a few more years out of Strange New Worlds, and that might
Yeah.
have the decision. But Deep Space Nine was so effing good.
Deep Space Nine's a good.
I'm
good
going
series.
through TNG. I'm going through Next Gen. And
Yeah.
the first season's a little dicey. but we're in season 3, and we're finally getting into some really good episodes. More consistent. Last night we saw yesterday's Enterprise. Oh my God,
Yeah.
so good. That's that's like a top 5 episode. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more Trek in that universe. And Patrick Stewart, I've got newfound respect
Yeah, he's awesome.
for young Patrick Stewart as Picard. He's amazing. What an actor! It's it's obvious.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor.
Amazing.
They said you were dead.
He could sell any damn line.
Yep.
Rick and Morty. Yep. Rick and Morty.
Yeah, we had a couple quote unquote correct answers. Let's see what people said. Doctor Who is the correct answer, of course, as I had.
Orville. Orville was
Yeah.
shockingly good.
Olivia says The West Wing. I, of course, answered correctly and said Third Rock from the Sun, but that's fine. Okay, question for the Rose. Carl Sagan has just been resurrected and voted president. He invites you each to take your seat in his cabinet. Which department do you head and why?
Oh God.
I
I don't know what
I would take the head of the CDC or something in the health realm. Head of the FDA.
There you go.
Then I'd show homeopathy.
Yeah. You need to whip that place in shape.
You'd have to create a department for me that probably doesn't exist, because I would want to use the power of his presidency to fight pseudoscience, and
Yeah.
and Steve and I would work together very seamlessly. What about you, Bob?
Is there a Halloween department?
Somebody said yours, Department of Zombie Investigation.
Zombie investigation.
Science research.
DZI. Science research?
Skunk Works.
DZI.
Bob, how about Bob? NASA.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
you'd be good.
Yeah, I'd get
Come
a
on.
nuclear rocket in space yesterday.
Yeah.
Department of Energy said somebody thought you would take up, Steve.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I thought that would be my second choice after
that'd
something
be
medical.
Go full nuclear.
All right, well, listen up, guys.
I think that's. I think we're
It's
good.
the weekend. Have a wonderful weekend wherever you are. I will remind everyone that's listening to this right now, do something nice for somebody in your life. Just do it, some act of kindness this weekend to make somebody smile. That's what we're here for. I really believe that we're here to help other people. That's a good goal in life, is to just want to help other people.
If you're gonna make your own meaning, that's a good one to have.
Definitely.
All
So
right.
Bob, you can help me, Bob. You can give me that Halloween sign. Forget it.
That make me far sadder than it makes you happy. So no.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend.
right.
Please join us
Bye-bye.
at Nauticon.
Thanks, Ian.
and
Bye
we'll
bye,
see you next
everybody.
week.
Oh, and look at this one. I enjoy your podcast 80% of the time. That's pretty
That's
good.
pretty good. I'll take 80%.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll take a B minus. If you really want it, Jay, call me later.
All right. Bye bye, everybody. Here we go.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.
I'm still here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I haven't done it in months because I haven't been doing anything.
It's a little different when Steve is like in the studio and I had to like click away and yada yada.
Yep. But I just wanted to remind everybody
Mm.
that this is still happening. Bob
still
and Steve
happening.
have no idea.
Nope. Hopefully.
And I'm surprised that they haven't nothing. They haven't
Nothing.
figured out anything. Even with all the people that know, this is a conspiracy that we are
This is
keeping
the-
under wraps,
This
guys.
is the real conspiracy. Yes, you're all part of it. It's the grandest of conspiracies.
It is. We're
See,
doing
Steve's
it.
wrong. Steve's wrong. We have 340 people who are part of it.
Yeah, there's hundreds of
Yeah,
us, and we
hundreds.
got this. We got this. We are in
Statistically, it
control.
should. Something should have leaked.
Yeah, I'm definitely today. Like, I really feel I had a good day today. I did, and I am very happy, very, very happy. Like, we'll see. I'm telling you, this has been. It goes up and down. Like, I could wake up tomorrow and feel absolutely horrible, but I got outside today and the weather was perfect, and I was like, oh God, I felt relief,
Yep.
and that was incredible for me today. It just felt so good.
Yeah, you definitely feel more J-esque.
Yeah, right. You could tell the difference.
Like,
I know.
yeah,
I mean, just
talking
chatting
to
with
you
you
or
at
just
work
like-
today,
yeah, exactly.
like it just felt like our old banter was there.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So I should be
boy.
fine by the conference.
That's true.
If you want to make me feel better, come to the conference. How about that?
Yes, definitely come too, because if my wife goes into labor, we're gonna need somebody from the audience to take over the audio. So hopefully that won't be a problem.
Somebody said it is a conspiracy, but it's only being kept from two people. So
That's true.
It's like flipped around. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I never thought of it
that's
that
a
way.
good point.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not kept thousands of people. Yes, I know my wife was probably a second. That's true.
Yep, the second one.
So
I had
it's-
somebody told me one time, Ian, never let children outnumber you and your wife.
Yeah, I know.
So be careful about that.
Yeah, it's even with one. They outnumber you with the number one. It's crazy. There's another girl, double girls
Oh, that's so freaking
all the
awesome.
way.
They're gonna love each other so much. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, my daughter's really cute with her cousin. They're the same age, and it's very cute. Yeah, so it'll be fun. Irish twins. No, it's not Irish twins. Three years apart. My wife is an Irish twin, I think. Oh no, close to Irish twins. But anyway.
Guy, I hope that you could be at
Offensive.
Nauticon, Ian.
I know.
I'm losing it.
I'll have my friend there, Jason, who's been at Nexus, who is just as good as me.
Yeah.
So you can go say whatever to Jason if you want. Pretend it's me.
I think
Wear
we
an
have a
Ian
good
mask.
chance of you being there, though. So
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be okay, and it's pretty close, so it's not going to be that bad. But it's going to be a lot of stuff we're doing at Nauticon. It's like the whole BVZ thing is going to be crazy.
Oh, God, how am I
All
gonna
the
do that
stuff
without you?
Brian, I know. All the stuff that Brian is doing. We have a cooking segment, which is crazy.
yeah,
which
that's
we're
almost 100%.
almost 100%.
Yeah, we're
Still
working
working
on
on
it.
it. There's a bunch of others. I mean,
Well,
like,
it's not just a cooking segment. It's literally
it's like Iron Chef,
it's going to be like our version of Iron Chef.
Yes.
There's going to
Copper Chef,
be there was
or
something. Yeah, George had some really funny ideas.
Bronze
so
Chef.
we'll make that. We'll
yeah,
make that
we'll
work.
figure that out. So that'll be cool.
What I'm worried about, Ian, is like you and I get there Thursday.
Yeah,
And, a lot of people are going to be rolling into the hotel and we're going to want to socialize and hang out. But you and I have got like serious work
That's
to
right.
do on that Thursday, man. Like we are going to be setting up the whole thing.
it's
but
true.
I think if we actually
Chef.
get 6 hours,
Yeah,
it'll be probably just enough to start the next day.
yeah,
And then we'll be working,
yeah.
we'll be working all, because we got to get the BVZ set like popping, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. And there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. There might even be some stuff that Andrea's doing, which we got to figure out how she's gonna do it.
Yeah, right.
It's not gonna be from the ceiling, if that helps anybody.
We
narrow it down.
literally asked the hotel,
Yeah,
can we have fire in this room?
yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
They were like, we have to check.
Yeah, they literally have to talk to the fire department with what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully there will be fire. So that would be pretty awesome.
It'll be cool. Yeah, so sign up, please, and come to it. It'll be fun. And hopefully we'll make it an
Happy-
annual thing or something like that, right? Like that's the dream.
It's very possible that we will. I mean, it just depends. I'll ask everybody at the conference if they want us to do it again next year, and we'll take a temperature in the room, see if people are interested. I mean, I just think it's impossible for this not to be fun at this point.
Yeah.
Because we have so much planned, but the 90%er is that we're all going to be hanging out together. We're going to have time. There's going to be lots of eating. It's going to be really good. Keith, whenever you want to compare meatballs, I'm ready to do it.
Okay.
I know what you were going for. Whichever way you meant that, we'll do it. It's good.
God.
I'm all good.
No.
Does Andrea juggle
Juggle
flaming torches? I
don't
would
know.
not be surprised.
I don't know if she juggles. That's a good question. If Andrea juggles,
She does a lot of things, though. A lot of circus things.
they're very cool. All right. I think that's sing along. Yeah, we're doing a sing along. That'll be really cool. And the best watermelon themed gift gets 1,000 SGU from Kelly. Okay, Kelly.
Yes, that
Don't
is.
don't be
I
sneaking
agree to
into
that.
the Skeptic's Guide
I agree.
name.
There will be 1,000
Account.
points delivered to anybody. SGU points. As a matter of fact, I will go as far as say
Oh.
that whoever brings Ian the best watermelon centered gift will get another free T-shirt.
Yes. Oh. That's pretty good. Maybe
Yes,
of a watermelon. But
Everybody,
not a full watermelon. Okay.
yeah, please don't bring a full watermelon because the hotel will freak out.
That'd be like,
They really don't want us bringing our
yeah,
own
they
food
have
and
a
drink
clause.
into that room.
Yeah, they said no watermelons whatsoever. Sorry.
Yes.
So that is. Ugh.
For all of you who said you love me,
That's
I love you guys. I love the support that you've all given me, and it means a lot to me. I was like going back after the last show we did. I was reading some of the comments, and it really does mean a lot. I lost a big part of myself for a while, and it was unreal. It's an unreal experience.
Yeah.
And getting back into doing this and being able to, they have this light in my face. Like I couldn't even have like this bright light in my face. That's how screwed up I was. Like I tried to do the live stream once. I sat down, like I'm going to try to do it this Friday. I'm going to tell everyone I'm going to do it, and I turned the light on, and I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's how effed up I was.
Yeah, it's wild.
So anyway, yes, thank you all for the support. It means the world to me, and I'll get there. I'll be fine. I'm looking forward to definitely looking forward to the conference and going on the trip down to Dragon Con. It's going to be a lot of fun. I totally need to get away, so I'm looking forward to it.
All
Ian,
right.
have a great night.
Thank you. You as well, everybody.
Take care of that
Have
family.
fun.
I'll see you
I
guys. We'll
will.
probably be here next week, and we definitely won't be here the week after that if my dates are correct.
That's right.
Right, next
Yeah,
week.
because
Yes.
that's Dragon Con, right?
Yeah, so very likely next week, but the week after that we're away.
Yeah.
All right, good night, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.